Here in the show, we've been talking a lot about a visit that's coming up tomorrow. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu heading to Washington, a visit a lot of this part of the world, the Middle East, is watching closely. We heard a little bit of the Palestinian Authority, how it's reacting, how it's planning its next move. But there is one more key piece of that equation, and that's Hamas in Gaza. As of today, the group has a new leader. He's a hardliner who was serving a life sentence for killing Palestinians suspected of collaborating with Israel. Middle East correspondent Gabrielle Weininger has more on the man. Hi, Gabrielle.
Yes, and as you said, Nurit, Yahya Sinwar is now the man in charge of the Gaza Strip. A bit more on someone who is likely to play a major role going forward in this part of the world. Sinwar was released from Israeli prison in 2011 after serving 23 years for murdering Palestinian collaborators. He was also one of over 1,000 Palestinian prisoners returned to the coastal enclave during an exchange with captured Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit. This is the moment Sinwar returned to his hometown, the southern city of Khan Yunis. People lined up to greet him. Let's hear what he had to say back then at the moment of his release.
It is an indescribable feeling, in all honesty. There is no doubt this is a nationalistic moment par excellence. It is one of the big strategic moments in the history of our cause. So we are living a moment of unusual joy.
On his return, kissed on the forehead by the person he'll be replacing, Ismail Haniyeh. Nurit, this spells the dawn of a new era for Hamas rule in the Gaza Strip. Haniyeh is set to become the head of the Islamist movement in upcoming elections, and Sinwar may bring the military into the political. Hamas's military wing, the Izz ad-Din al-Qassam Brigades, was launched at the start of the First Intifada in 1987, and Sinwar was one of its founders. Back then, Israel tried and failed to assassinate him and attacked his house again on July 12, 2014, during the last war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. It leaves an unpredictable situation in the coastal enclave. This past week saw a ramping up of hostilities with rocket fire, airstrikes and cross-border skirmishes. Sinwar's rise to power may mean it could be a hot summer ahead, Nurit.
Thanks to Gabrielle Weininger. So what does this new leadership practically mean? Kobi is a senior research fellow at the INSS and headed the Palestinian desk at Israel's Ministry for Strategic Affairs. Kobi, thanks very much for being here.
Good evening.
So give us the bottom line for you on what this new leadership in Hamas should mean.
First of all, I'm not sure that this is a new leadership. I mean, it's a sort of an official or formal new leadership, but Sinwar is there for almost 5 years. And actually, since the first moment that he came back to the Gaza Strip, he was the leader. He was the most influential figure in Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and actually very independent. And he was a sort of an opposition, and even significant opposition to the political leadership of Gaza and the political leadership of Hamas as a whole. He is the head of the military wing, and actually became to be even more senior than Mohammad Deif. And suddenly...
sort of a legendary military commander that nobody has seen
yes,
for
and
many
suddenly,
years.
you know, everything is relative in life, and we thought that Mohammad Deif is very, very extremist and very radical. And once Sinwar appeared in the scene, so Mohammad Deif became to be sort of moderate in comparison to Sinwar. So he's not new in the town in this regard. Formally and officially now he won the elections, if we can name it elections, okay, because nobody knows how exactly it goes there.
If we're to look at the actions carried out by Hamas, we've seen recently in Israeli reports saying that Hamas has sort of rebuilt its entire military operation to the level it was or beyond before the 2014 war. If we're looking at the vast network of tunnels that was built under Gaza, one of the biggest threats to Israel, how do you think those elements might change under this hardline leadership?
They will not be changed.
Will they step up?
All of them were conducted and led by Yahya Sinwar himself. Now he is going to be in a much more easier or more comfort position, because he's going to be the head of the political bureau or the political wing in Gaza, and in the very same time the head of the military wing. So he has to coordinate with himself. He became
more
to be
power.
Yes, of course, and the policy will remain the same policy.